Good morning. You are Jimmy Taylor?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Taylor, you were previously in court, entered pleas of true and a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation, counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You pled true to all of those counts. You're on probation. The second-degree felony offense of theft of property with previous convictions with findings that prior offenses were true. You were placed on that probation January 24th of 2024. I have received the pre-sentence report as well as there was one incident report from the jail, a page that should have been sent to you all, and also Mr. Coleman has also provided a copy of the court's sentencing hearing, a transcript from that original sentencing back on January 23rd of 2024. Has everyone had an opportunity to review all of those things?
We have, Your Honor.
State has, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to that updated report?
Not from the defense.
Not from the state, Your Honor. There are a couple of things I'd like to speak to if and when the court would like to hear from you.
Yes, of course. So let me just, there's no agreement in this, correct? This was just open to the court?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And, all right, Mr. Rojas, you may proceed.
This case starts fast. Jimmy Taylor comes to the court with a long criminal record that spans decades, 6 probation violations linked to a conviction for felony larceny, and more drug-related crimes. Thus, Room has a tense vibe. Before the judge, stories are not permitted. She has the entire report. Having access to prior convictions and jail records, everyone knows that Jimmy has had opportunities in the past. There is a distinct sense that this man is on thin ice and will not be granted much leeway, even though the courtroom seems to be silent. Table that simply includes the raw data and results. The reckoning has arrived and is rapidly approaching. This is about the weight of years, not just a verdict. What follows? Assume that Jimmy is aware that the walls are closing in and that the past is rapidly catching up with him. In anticipation of the moment when everything breaks down, every eye in the room is riveted, crashing. This is the beginning of the end, so belt up and get down immediately.
We're going to be asking for the court to continue Mr. Taylor on probation. I know by looking at the PSI on paper, it doesn't look like there's a chance that Mr. Taylor should be given, especially given his criminal history. It looks like his criminal history is all in some way related to drug abuse. If you look at the allegations he pled true to, those are the non-compliance allegations have to do with drugs. And the reason for not complying with the JCBI program, he doesn't come from a wealthy background. He doesn't have a whole lot of affluent friends and family members that can help him out. He had a ride with his brother. His brother had an accident, and that option was not available to him anymore. He indicates to me that he does want help getting off of the drugs, and I'm sure that when Mr. Coleman has a chance to speak, he's going to point out the comments made by the court to this defendant about not wanting to hear about needing more help with drugs or any relapses.
I really don't, because here's the thing, Mr. Johnson. I'm looking back at your original pre-sentence report that when I put you on probation, and I make notations on those reports and make highlights and those types of things. And I'm noting that in that report, you already
4:03. Now, the defense is trying to ask for one more shot. Jimmy wants help, but according to the court's records, she gave him probation against everyone's recommendations, sent him to treatment centers where he failed, and he remained positive for cocaine. Jimmy's attorney says it's all about drugs and attributes it to bad luck, poverty, and a lack of support. The judge's tone shifts to one of composure but accuracy when she tells Jimmy that he begged for a chance the last time that he has now wasted. Jimmy is running out of lines to defend its truth versus story, and truth is prevailing. The judge is here to call it straight, not to bargain. Now that the courtroom feels smaller, Jimmy's justifications are starting to unravel. Every justification is backed up with facts and every request is greeted with
before
icy truth.
this case had gone to ISF and SafeP. And then on this probation, I sent you to ISF at the beginning of the probation. Is that correct or no?
I believe parole sent him to ISF.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were on parole.
Yes, ma'am.
I gave you a probation against Mr. Coleman's wishes and really against what looked like I should have. You went to ISF regardless of who. So you've been to ISF twice. Is that correct?
Should be.
You're looking at her. You've gone. Have you been to
Yes, ma'am. I've
ISF
been
once
to
or twice?
How many times?
How many times?
Twice in 20 years.
Okay, so you've
I've
been,
been in prison 23 years out of the last 30 years. So I've been doing my time and
but you
I
keep
haven't had a chance to,
to do what? Because you've been to SafeP, you've been to ISF, and you went to ISF more recently, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
As soon as I got out, I got it right on probation. And I haven't had a chance to.
You got right on probation. You didn't.
Yes, ma'am.
You
And I
tested.
had to go to Beaumont, which
You
I'm
tested
from,
positive for
so
cocaine
Yes,
after
ma'am.
all of this time, and all the different things that have been given to you, and the opportunity that I gave you back in January of last year. You pled open, just open to me. I could have done anything.
Yes.
I could have sent you to prison for 20 years, 10 years, and I gave you an opportunity. And I said on that day, because Mr. Coleman printed it out for
I know
me.
what you said.
Well,
Ma'am.
so how do I do anything other than what I said?
I mean, the situation. I've got parents. My mother's 90 years old, man. I don't want her to die and I be
Hey,
in prison.
we're not talking about anybody
You
but
know
you
it.
today.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry your mom's that old and that you
Yeah.
haven't been around to be with her, but that's whose fault? It's not going to be my fault if you're not there. How about some personal responsibility instead of my mom is old and don't send me to prison?
Man, you know.
Everything starts to come apart at this point. Jimmy tries to make another plea, but the judge cuts him off when he mentions his old mother and his need to keep her alive while he is in prison. This isn't about her. It's about him failing again, and she expects him to take responsibility by pointing the finger at his own lack of family time. Jimmy tries to turn things around, but it's too late. There's no way out of the courtroom, and every attempt to assign responsibility just helps to. The judge is impatient now, and in Jimmy's story, you can sense the atmosphere changing as hope gradually dwindles as Jimmy is under assault, his words hollow, and his future slipping out of his reach. Reality is going to hit hard now that it has lost all of its weight. Jimmy is already defeated. The collapse is total. It's him against the truth. This is the sound of repercussions hitting hard, emotional appeals and responsibility shifting. Will end.
Go ahead.
He was warned about not coming back, and the court didn't want to hear about a relapse, but I don't know that this is really a relapse. He never really got the help. On this most recent term of probation with the JCDI, and if transportation is going to be a problem, I know he's already been to SafeP, Judge, but it would be a relapse portion of SafeP would be appropriate, or a whole new term.
Hold on. So if I'm reading this, I want to know when he went to ISF this last time. Parole sent him when, because the way I'm reading is you were released from ISF and started JCDI August 6th of 2024. So I put you on probation in January, and between January and August, you went to ISF last year. Is that correct or no?
Parole sent him to ISF because of this new charge.
Okay. So when was that?
He was in custody in Jefferson County, and then from custody.
Went straight there. So I placed you on probation, you never got out, you went and got help at ISF. Okay, all right, anything else?
And Judge, if the court, and it seems like the court is not leaning towards probation.
No. No,
I would point out, we understand the range of punishment is up to 20 years, but the bottom end of that range is 2 to 20. And
I still haven't done anything yet, so your response and how you act right now is gonna go into what I do.
I understand the legislation makes it possible to go all the way up to 20, but it also makes it possible to go down as low as 2. I think we have to look at each case for the facts, and the underlying offense was a theft at the Dollar General, I think, or Family Dollar, I think it was about $100 worth of merchandise. I would ask the court to consider something at the lower end of the range, maybe 2 to 5. Just because we can drop the hammer on them, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should.
Although Jimmy didn't want it, this is the final push. As Jimmy's counsel desperately pleads with the judge for pity and requests a minimum sentence of 2 to 5 years, the judge hears a stone-faced Jimmy who has destroyed every bridge and ignored every warning. His past is now dragging him beneath the courthouse. Citing Jimmy's utter lack of responsibility and resource waste, the state closes it down and demands 15 years. The weight of failure is quiet. No more chances. Hold on tight. There will be no more tolerance. The door to a lifetime of second chances is being slammed shut. Like seeing a door close without a key, every minute feels heavy. Jimmy's time, options, and opportunities are all gone. The fall is here, and it's a steep one. Justice is not blind. Rather, it is looking directly at him, and he can only look down.
And that's what we're asking the court to do. Probation is not going to be an option.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
I'll keep it brief. The defendant has earned every bit of a 15-year sentence in prison. That's what I asked for originally. You placed on deferred. That's what I'm asking for today. 3 things I'd like to quickly point out, Your Honor. Looking at the defendant's version in the updated PSI, he says that when he was placed on in the JCDI program, that he believes it was an attempt to set him up for failure, demonstrating a lack of acceptance of his own responsibility. The resources and time that have been dedicated to this defendant, limited resources, mind you, could have been redirected to someone who is more amenable to being rehabilitated. Lastly, you got his full criminal history there in the original PSI. And I provided you with the transcript from the sentencing just to remind the court. I know you see a lot of defendants, but just to remind the court that you essentially told him up front this was essentially a zero tolerance probation.
And I do appreciate that because I do see a lot and I don't remember it all, but Mr. Taylor, do you have anything you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. Been through a lot of things in my life, people dying in my family and other things, drugs, but I think, that I could do better if I had a chance, proper opportunity, ma'am. And I did a lot of time. I've done my time.
You have.
I don't think just putting me in prison I think I need a chance. I really do.
It doesn't make any sense because you're saying, you've done a lot of time, and at some point you either say, I don't like prison and I want to do better.
In a last desperate plea, Imi attributes the catastrophe to narcotics. The judge makes excuse after excuse and calls it what it is, even after an 8-year-old has back surgery. She called him out, but he didn't try, didn't care, and didn't change until it was too late. You're repeating what you stated previously, and notice where it led you. The hammer falls, 12 years in prison, and the room falls silent, conversation devoid of sympathy. The judge isn't finished yet, but Jimmy is stunned. Officially, once she creates the law, revokes his rights, and gives him the reality he earned, silence follows, not surprise, but certainty. Jimmy's comments were unfounded and still aren't. This is more than just a statement. It completes his story. The gap didn't just collapse, it echoed, and with it, Jimmy's future vanished in an instant.
Listen,
I'm not making excuses.
If you're throwing out to me that you had back surgery 8 years ago, then you are digging for everything you possibly can, and we're done with all that. I'm going to find that you previously entered your pleas of true to counts 1 through 6 freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find those counts true. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time, find you guilty of theft of property with previous convictions. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 12 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm going to hand you trial court certification that shows this was not an agreement. You do have some limited rights to appeal. You can talk to Mr. Rojas about that. I'm also going to hand you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read the written admonishment I provide you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have any questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk to Mr. Rojas. Y'all need to sign that, and he'll give you a copy of it. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Ms. Holmes on Demario Flukas.
That's it, whatever.
Hey, come back, Mr. Taylor. Come here. Let me tell you something. I still have jurisdiction over your case. So any disrespect that you show me right now, I can add years to that number. Is that what you would like to do? I do think it's fair. It doesn't matter that it's a misdemeanor. You keep doing it over and over. Go back with the bailiff. And you probably should keep your mouth shut this time.
It's not quite over though, so hold on. He murmurs to himself as he walks away, but the judge soon summons him back and warns him that one more word might lengthen his sentence by years. As the tension increases, the judge explains that he will regret treating her disrespectfully. In a courtroom when he had every chance, he threw them all away, and now he has nothing left.